We're the Bates International Group. I'm Ebony.
Hey, Muhammad here.
Hey, what's up? I'm Smarty.
Awesome. And, today we started our conversation just as a group talking about Baltimore. And we thought, let's hit the record button, even though this is in ways a promotional video for our next roundtable. We're going to be having David Humphrey come on, and he's a lender in Baltimore. He does a lot of our, works with a lot of our clients in Baltimore on investments and residential properties and purchases. So he's going to be on telling us all kinds of good stuff. But we kind of wanted to just talk about Baltimore just on its own, just about what's going on there, the trends that we've seen. We recently wrote a few contracts there. We lost some, won some in Baltimore. So just kind of wanted to talk to, put our conversation out there for you all, because we believe it will be beneficial, especially with the trends that are happening there. Do you have any experiences? I know both of you. Marty, you were in Baltimore not long ago. You had some interesting experiences there on the ground. Muhammad, you as well. Do you want to share any? I mean, I can talk all day about it, but I don't want to take up too much room. Do you have any experiences or thoughts?
I'm going to leave it to Marty first, because he got run up on by some corner boys.
Yeah,
What, the Candyman come to see you? Hey, came to see you too?
When the Candyman calls, you better be going the other direction. Know that.
Hey, you know what they say? Don't say his name 3 times.
Trust me, I didn't say it once, and he still came. No, it's Baltimore's it's a different animal, just as it relates to real estate. And one of the things that we were talking about is just the fluency that you see in the market there, and the change that can happen, within a period of months. Muhammad has, more of the stats on it, but, just from a personal experience and supporting clients in the area, just in, the hyper local section of Patterson Park, we saw properties that were coming on the market and not staying on the market 4 days before, they had multiple offers and were ratified. So you're seeing a lot of that, as well as, again, just competitiveness in that area. But Muhammad, I know you have more of the stats on it.
Let me just say one anecdotal story, or at least one point about that Patterson Park area. For the first time in Baltimore, I removed, normally in Baltimore, you can write a strong contract. You can work with the contingencies, but still keep them. For the first time, I was forced to remove contingencies in order to get my clients across the finish line. And that's kind of a new feel for Baltimore. So Baltimore agents, Maryland agents, you might not be used to that. In DC, we're very much so used to removing contingencies, but that's where we're going if you want to win in Baltimore. So whether you're a consumer or whether you're an agent, get ready for that. You've got to be competitive. You can't just put in an offer with a strong list price or offer price and think that that's going to be enough now in Baltimore.
And so that was the tough part of the conversation, with the clients as well, because, I was trying to speak in general terms as to what takes place in DC in the hyper competitive markets, but not clear on if Baltimore was at that state. So to hear you say that is very interesting.
I think it's still a neighborhood to neighborhood thing, and almost like a block to block thing in Baltimore. Just generally speaking, I've got experience in quite a few neighborhoods in Baltimore. The Greenmount West area, the Arch District, Brooklyn neighborhood, where I had a listing, and honestly, I sold the listing in Brooklyn off of Coming Soon. Didn't even really have to list it. So that speaks to Ebony's point about things moving really quickly. But then we also had properties that, it took us a year almost to unload. So it really does vary. Just looking at the numbers year over year, January 2020 to January 2021, keeping COVID in mind. January 2020, Baltimore, and this is Baltimore City, not Baltimore County, really started out as a seller's market with a monthly supply index of 1.1 And throughout the year, by March, we were at a 4.8 MSI, which puts us very, very seriously into a buyer's market. And Baltimore City really remained a buyer's market through the summer. That started to shift in late July, early August, and when it started to move back into a seller's market with a 2.2 MSI, but that fluctuated between a 2.2 and a 2.4, which is really getting to a point of homeostasis, with a 3.0 being a balanced market. In the end of the year, around Thanksgiving time, November through December and January of this year, that MSI has gone from a 2.4 down to a 1.5. So we're back solidly into a seller's market in Baltimore City. The inventory year over year is up in Baltimore, which is good, and also the units being sold are moving, pretty well. So, overall, I think there's a lot of opportunity still in Baltimore. We're looking at in a price point of like 200 to $500,000 dollars price point. So things are moving well in Baltimore. I think there's some opportunities there, but the lay of the land is shifting, based on the numbers and based on the anecdotal evidence that's been presented in this conversation. The days of property sitting on the market for 3 months at a time, and you having an opportunity to come in and take your time, that's changing. And I'll tell you just from a statistical example, just looking at the numbers, the days on market in January of 2020 was 75 days. Days on market last month, and our numbers are always a month behind in collecting them, so we'll have February numbers in March. But as of the end of January 2021, we're looking at 41 days on market. So that's a huge decrease. It's a little bit less than half. We're talking about a 45% reduction, roughly, in the days on market. So that definitely illustrates that the demand in Baltimore has ticked up considerably.
Well, and that 41 days on market versus the 75 days on market. Can you imagine if you're a seller, 75 days on market? And that's average. We're talking average, okay? Versus, 41 days, which in DC is still like, we would be talking our clients off the ledge at 41 days. I mean, it would be an intervention. But it's doing a nosedive. So again, we're talking about the average. That means, like you said, Marty, 3-4 days properties being snapped up in some instances, and that's averaging out those ones that have maybe 100 days on market, 200 days on market, right? So yeah, to your point, Mohammed, all of those points correct. Get ready. Baltimore is no longer just low hanging fruit. There's a wave that's coming. DC, even though it's more competitive on face value, the numbers say that Baltimore is more of a seller's market right now than DC, even though the competition on the ground may feel different. The numbers are saying that the trend is that, it is a strong seller's market in Baltimore, and it's just getting stronger.
Yeah, and we need to put this in perspective before we close out. With regard to national trends, people are moving away from larger cities. They're moving into more suburban, and they're moving into more rural areas. They're taking their dollar, their city-based dollar, and they're going out where they can get more bang for their buck. Especially with COVID, folks are able to work remotely. DC and Baltimore only 25 miles apart, maybe 30 tops. Like, it's not
it's
far.
Less than it's about an hour, in some congested traffic.
Yeah, without traffic, depending on where you are. Ebony and I only live a few minutes apart. We can get to Baltimore from our houses in roughly 30-35 minutes without traffic. So keep that in mind. Baltimore has always been a smaller city. It's had great opportunities, great things like the waterfront and shops and restaurant, but it's always been a much lower price point.
And it's also been seen as more rural. And to put it into perspective too, Mohammed, that a DC condo like a 1-bedroom, maybe even efficiency condo in Washington, D.C. is the same as, an 1,800 square foot 3-level house in Baltimore.
So people are taking advantage of this opportunity to get more for their money. They're taking their D.C. money, their Northern Virginia money, they're going out to Baltimore. And this is a national trend where folks are coming out of the big cities. Like New York City, for example, my hometown has the highest apartment vacancy rate in the history in like the last 40, 50 years, because folks are leaving the city. They're going upstate New York. They're going further out to Long Island. They're going to Jersey.
Because
Other places.
There's no commute anymore, Muhammad. That's the problem, right? I mean,
exactly.
Because sitting in that traffic would have shrunk your life or decreased your lifespan by about 10 years.
It's not just about the reduced commute, because folks are moving towards telework. What COVID has proved is that telework works, and that people are actually more efficient, more effective in working right now from home. But also, you look at a city with New York that has 15, 20 million people, counting the population and folks coming into the city every day to work. 20 million folks is congested. COVID is an issue versus being able to go into the Hudson Valley, go up the Peekskill, Wallkill, Poughkeepsie. You're an hour away from the city. You can commute in if you have to, but now your kids got a backyard. You can send them outside. They can play. They can have community and not have to worry about being mashed up all the time or be in a congested city where they're more exposed. The quality of life has increased tremendously. Like, folks are getting out of cities right now, and I think Baltimore has become a beneficiary of that national trend.
100%. And we're going to have more about that, coming up. So, join us. It's always going to be the first Thursday of each month. It's the same link, same time, 6 p.m. So join us. We're going to be talking more about Baltimore. We're going to have a lender from Baltimore to talk to you about programs that you can capitalize on, whether you're a consumer looking for your first home or maybe a second home even. Or if you're a investor. So lots of stuff going on.
Hey, same bat time, same bat station. I know I'm dating myself a little bit with that one, but childhood memories.
Yeah, so it'll be March the 4th to be more specific, and we'll see you there.
All right. Have a good one, everybody.